What do you see when you imagine a Russian person? It's probably something like this, a white Slavic guy on a red square wearing an ushanka and one of those striped t-shirts, drinking vodka obviously. Well, maybe without the vodka, but I'm pretty sure that you did imagine a white man. And that makes sense, because Russia is a country that is predominantly white, the presidents and most of the politicians are whites, and most of the videos you see coming out of Russia with whatever it is, just people on the street or soldiers marching, it's usually mostly white people. But a white Slavic person is not the only thing that the word Russian can mean. And guess what? Even these people are also Russian. Yes, Russia being such a big country has a ton of different ethnicities and peoples living in it, and because Westerners usually refer to every ethnicity in Russia as simply Russian, a lot of people don't know anything about minorities in Russia, and specifically, a ton of people are not aware that black people even exist and live in Russia.
When I get the tattoo, like 50,000 of subscribers get off from me like in 1 hour.
Yes, guys, yes. There will be a Russian black guy in this video who has a Vladimir Putin tattoo. What is even happening? So long story short, this YouTuber, Pudi, whose stuff I actually have seen before, he's pretty cool. He's an African-American who went to Russia to shoot a video kind of interview and spend a day with the black community of Russia. Now, I myself am a white Russian, I think that is very obvious to everybody. And I'm not from Moscow, I come from the provincial big city of Chelyabinsk. And guess what? Even in my hometown, we do have quite a few black people. It's not a crazy amount, you definitely will not see them every day. I actually went without talking to a black person for a very long period in my life because there were simply none in my vicinity, right? But sooner or later, I did end up actually getting a black friend in my life, and we actually made an interview about being black in Russia a few years ago on my channel. You can check it out, you know, it's a pretty cool video, some funny moments in there, but it's always been interesting to me what it's like to be black in Russia, and how different it is from my experience as a vanilla Russian, right? So, without further ado, it is I, Roman, your favorite neighborhood Russian, and let's get right into it and react to this video. I'll give you an incredible enlightened reaction, being a Russian myself. Of course. That's the only thing Westerners know about Russia is pretty much just Putin, right? Yeah, so that's Moscow right there. Been there many times. I'm sorry guys, I mean, maybe this is just me being racist, but why do they have to go to a Russian equivalent of KFC in the States? Like, yes, this place right here is Rostik's KFC. It's like the Russian, you know how McDonald's left Russia? Now it's called Vkusnaya Tochka, tasty period. KFC also left Russia officially, now it's called Rostik's. It's like an old name they used to have back in the 2000s. They just gotta be clip farming at this point, bro. Like, there's no other way.
Свое черное ДМА запил, упал, встал, но могу с холста по устам бить мозг фаустом, фастом, 365 год мерз, 365 год я мерз, ложись, блядь, в ушах мерда.
Cut that shit off, anyway.
And just put the fries in the bag. I was searching for the right guy for this video, and after a year of searching, I stumbled across Sam, a black guy, born and raised in Russia, who knows Moscow like the back of his hand. This is Black in Russia.
Yeah, so there's an intro with some copyrighted music that I can't really play, I guess, probably, but in this video, Pudi is gonna be accompanied by a Russian black media personality. They essentially run a podcast here called Juju People, where they talk about, you know, the issues of being black in Russia, or not even the issues, you know, the positives, everything. And it's quite interesting. It's a channel full of black people who speak Russian as a native language, which is something that people never expect. In a day-to-day life, Russians are usually shocked when a black person comes up to them and starts speaking fluent native Russian, because they just think it's an immigrant or something. These are the people of Russia too.
So Soviet Union isn't Russia.
Soviet Union is like 40 countries.
So is that the same thing as...
I mean, he's probably exaggerating. Look, it wasn't 40, okay? But I'm not gonna be a fucking Redditor like, actually, it's 15. I wanted to make a joke that, you know, this is how much Americans know about Russia, truly. But yes, that's the truth. They don't know anything.
But Russia was one of the countries in that.
Yeah.
When I like think of Russia, this is what I think of, these buildings.
When Soviet Union reached its peak, they started building identical shits everywhere.
Right.
Identical schools, housing, grocery, everything was the same. That is why you get a feeling when you're in Belarus, they're in Russia. Or if you go to even Poland, at some extent, you feel like you're in Russia.
It was the same infrastructure throughout the entire...
I talked about this as well, absolute facts, you know. I've been to Poland myself, I've been to Warsaw, and I talked about how sometimes it feels a little uncanny to be there, it feels like home, you know. Check it out out if you guys want to.
The flags, the toilet, the street names.
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, the street names too.
Like in any Soviet Union, you have a Lenin Street as the main
True.
street of the city, and you have a bunch of like squares.
Yeah.
Or Johnny Kidze, fucking, какие еще, блядь, я пытаюсь просто вспомнить. Ну окей, whatever. All the same stuff.
Tell me about how you ended up in Russia.
For you to be black and in a country like Russia,
Yeah.
it has to be something bizarre. In my instance, my dad was sent to the Soviet Union in 88 or 89 to study.
From where?
From Nigeria.
So you're Nigerian.
Yoruba boys.
Yoruba boy.
Yoruba, no Yoruba. What the fuck? We're not in America. Yoruba.
It's common for Nigerians to come to Russia?
It has to be a bizarre story. It's not common.
And it was probably a lot less black people then than now.
At a point in my life, I knew only 2 cities in my hometown.
Yeah.
Black families. Mine and a friend of ours. He decides to try it out. He kind of like it. Then shit go left. The Soviet Union collapsed. You have the Hungry 90s, and he still decides to stay.
What's the Hungry 90s?
The Hungry 90s, that's after the Soviet Union collapsed. Russia had like 8 to 10 years of lawlessness, total lawlessness.
What's that movie, Purge, where it's like all crime is legal or something?
Crime is legal.
You're
police.
lying.
You
So
could say
someone-
so, yeah. I mean, look, Russia's going through a bit of a purge right now too, I'd argue, but it's just a different type of vibe. But, you know, who knows what's gonna happen next, you guys, you know? It's not looking like the setup for the future is great right now. But, yes, a lot of the black people that live in Russia today, like Sam, who speak Russian as a native language, happen to be children of immigrants, a lot of whom came from African countries to the Soviet Union at a time where the Soviets had a very great connection with some of the African countries. This is the case, for example, for my friend as well that I made a video with, and he also talks about how, you know, in his small town, he was the only black person growing up. He was the odd one out in that way, but, you know, he still was treated okay. But yes, these are real people that you don't think of when you imagine Russia.
Most of us, we have this conflict of identity. You have no blacks around you. You try to act as the people you see around you. That's the Russians. So
Right.
like, yo, I'm Russian. Speak the language. I like only
Yaruski! Sorry, guys.
white girls. I listen to Russian music.
Right,
So
yeah.
like, nah, I'm not African. Once you're black, bro.
Right.
Wherever you at, Russia, China, US, they will let you know.
In Brazil, there's black Brazilians, right? In UK, there's black British people, right?
Yeah.
What if it's just like y'all in the early stages of having y'all black people to where it feels like it's not like a melting pot?
Yeah, but all of you have your American experience. The Mexican American experience, the white American experience, the black American experience.
Right.
When you're growing up as a black person in Russia, the first thing you do is neglect your second part. But people around you will always let you know you're black. Always.
Yeah.
So the first thing you have to do, I'm very grateful to my dad for, accept the fact that, yo, I'm an African born in Russia, and trying to find that balance.
Yeah.
I can totally imagine this conflict of identity. I mean, I'm an immigrant myself right now, so I'm going through something similar, I guess, but it is obviously way different. When you're growing up in Russia and you look completely different and you feel like you have to conform, it's not necessarily negative, and you could say that it's kind of like, it's integration, right? It's blending in, it's becoming part of the culture, but also, yes, another part of you kind of gets erased or forgotten.
Brother, what's up?
Pooty, bro. Good to meet you, man. You're a rapper, right?
Yeah.
Heard some good things, man. Heard some good things. Pooty.
Like Putin.
Like Pooty with a P. No. He said Pooty like Pooty. No. Oh, you got a Putin tattoo. That is insane.
exact.
Show it real quick. Show it to the camera.
Yo, what's up?
Where'd you get that?
Bruh, like... This is like, I mean, okay, so this is just so corny, I swear to God. I mean, look, this guy right here, he's like a black Russian rapper, right? His name is Jacques Anthony. He's been around for a while, I've heard of him back in the day, but like, he's always been kind of corny in my opinion, even before getting the Putin tattoo, but now he's cemented his status, right? He's a certified cornball right now.
That is insane.
exact.
Show it real quick. Show it to the camera.
Yo, what's up?
Where'd you get that?
Like 1 year ago.
What's the significance of the Putin tattoo?
I'm Russian nigga. What the fuck?
Is there a lot of black?
So am I, but you don't see me getting a Putin tattoo, do you? I mean, okay, nah, actually, thinking about it, I have like a Kremlin fucking Lenin hanging over it or something tattoo. I just, you know, it's a dumb meaning of like, I like my country, but I don't like tyrants or whatever. That's what I meant by it. I don't know if you can see it, but Putin tattoo, come on now, okay? 1 year ago as well, you decided that 1 year ago after, you know, the Ukraine war and everything, that was the time when you were like, okay, this guy's great. I don't know. I mean, I know you guys are gonna be like, of course, Roman, you're triggered at a Putin tattoo. Look, if it was an American rapper who had a tattoo of an American president, I would think it's corny as fuck as well. Like, how are you as a black man getting a white man tattooed on you?
Is there a lot of black folks who rap out here?
Not really, but
All of my guys rapping. Like, I'm the one famous black rapper in Russia.
Oh, you're like the biggest one. Bet, let's
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. Nobody know this motherfucker, really.
go inside, check everything out. Y'all Russian handshakes be killing me. In the US, we call that the Mexican handshake.
I mean, look, I gotta say something, okay? I've been kind of holding this thought back, but like, the thing is about these guys is that, like, this guy right here, for example, he's basically like a government supporter, kind of. He's gonna talk about it, but it's funny because this guy in particular, for example, he kind of portrays this image of like being a Russian, so being kind of against the West and being cool like that, right? Being part of the great Russian horde, right? You know, sticking with your country and being ready to show the West what for, whatever. That's the vibes this guy is giving off. But what I do find funny is that like these guys' entire demeanor, swag, and like style is ripped off from like black Americans, okay? I'm not saying that it's not something that I do. I probably do it as well, you know? I would kind of describe myself as a, I don't know if this is a nice word to use, but I'm kind of a wigger, you know what I'm saying? Like, even the way that I speak and so on, and I've always been that way. Because you know what? I've grown up listening to hip-hop and rap, and every single time that I'm listening to like music made by black people about how like, you know, the police is against them and so on, right? I feel like I can relate to it. From my experience of being a Russian in a country that is like, you know, an authoritarian regime where there's no free speech, and the cops do enjoy and abuse their power, and they, you know, torture people and shit like that. You know, when I'm listening to, you know, like Freeway or something, what we do. Don't you know the police sole purpose is to lock us down and throw away the key? When I listen to that shit, I'm like, yes, this is kind of like my life. And yes, I know that it's corny, but like, I remember walking around in my hood in Chelyabinsk, looking at commie blocks and like gopniks and alcoholics on the street, and listening to like 3-6 Mafia and thinking like, yeah, I'm in the hood right now. Like, yes, it's corny. I completely realize that I'm basically cosplaying something in the moment. But honestly, like, these guys, they're doing the exact same thing because, you know, listening to the rap music about, you know, the black struggle in America, that's also not their experience, and yet a lot of their swag and so on is based in that. So all I'm saying is, you know, do that. Go ahead, do that, but maybe just don't get Vladimir Putin tattoos, is all I'm saying. If you're such like a... if your whole swag is Western African-American style and so on, if you imitate American rappers, maybe don't get Vladimir Putin tattoos, all I'm saying. So yeah, there's this part here where they go to like the studio, whatever, some shenanigans, but I want to check out this part where they go to the Red Square. That's copyrighted music that I can play. Let's skip. Here they are, they pull up in vans, Mercedes, pretty cool. Red Square, St. Basil's Cathedral. People staring. Which, as far as I understand, is the black experience in Russia. You get stared at all the time. Although I was getting stares like that in my hometown in Chelyabinsk just for having like long hair and dressing slightly differently. It is what it is.
I was born here. Yeah, I was born in a little town, and when I was 14 years old, I moved to St. Petersburg. Moved to St. Petersburg with my mama. She's black too. She's the first female black rapper in Russia.
Your mom raps?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Okay.
There's female rappers
That's
in
cool.
Russia?
A little. My mom was the first, like, she opened those gates.
So you have tattoos and everything. I want to talk about this Putin tattoo.
Vladimir Putin, yeah.
Why'd you choose to get it?
You know, actually, when the war starts, a lot of people say a lot of not really good shit about Russia or something like that. And I was like showing that I don't give a fuck. I was born here. I will just say it loud.
You got this as a way to show like Russia's
It's my
pride.
message. Yeah, it's my message. I was in the.
Vladimir Putin is not Russia though, right? Like there's a lot of other things that you could get. You could get that cathedral in the back. That would be cool, you know, that's chill. That's a cool image. I don't know, you could get like a matryoshka or some shit. I mean, anything, right? It's like I have this building, which is like a communist building, and I'm not even like a communist. I'm not a fan of the Soviet Union. I'm not a massive like hater either. I just think it looks hard, right? Just get something that looks hard. Not Vladimir Putin's dumbass face. Is that the greatest Russian of all time? Really? But then that's kinda sad for Russia, if that's true. And look, I get what he's saying, right? I got a lot of hate myself for just being Russian at the start of the war, and I still get a lot of hate. A lot of people don't want to hear what I have to say. They misconstrue my words because I just happen to be Russian, right? I get what he's saying, but once again, I would not get a Putin tattoo to show to the world how much I do not care and that I'm not, you know, мне не стыдно. Поэтому я набил пыню на жопе.
He was in the Russian army.
Oh, you was in the army?
Yeah.
In Russia, once you reach 18, you're obliged to serve for a year. Only if you go to a college, then you can skip it.
But do you have to do that?
I'm not a citizen.
Okay, it's only for citizens.
Yeah.
What was everybody's like thought?
He's not a citizen of Russia. That's nice. I mean, like, unironically right now, foreigners, a lot of like Americans and so on, they move into Russia. They find it as like the new conservative safe haven and also a good place for digital nomads, apparently. Some people say this, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, right? But yeah, these days in Russia, it's kind of like low-key better to live as a non-citizen than being an actual Russian citizen who can get like jailed for comment on the internet. Although, to be honest, that can happen to anybody. But yeah, I personally didn't serve in the army. I avoided it. I went to college, and then after finishing college, I had to like prove my medical records and shit to avoid the army. I have a video about that actually on the channel. That was way before the Ukraine war and so on. So yeah, dodge the bullet, as the people say.
What was everybody's like thoughts when you got the tattoo?
When I get the tattoo, like 50,000 of subscribers get off from me like in 1 hour.
Based? I mean, that should be the reaction, because like, not all Russians like Putin, dude.
How did the Russian people react?
In Russia, there is a lot of people who doesn't like this shit, like the government and something like that.
Yeah.
But actually, when I was a little boy, it was a lot of skinheads in Russia.
Yeah.
Like they black people, they with the knife. Even my mom have a scar here. They got a knife in the chest, you know. And I was 5 years old. And when Putin came, he like he stopped all of this shit. Yeah.
So,
and it is why I respect this guy, you know.
Have you traveled?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, he has a point there actually, in a sense, because like, the truth is that yes, the amount of neo-Nazi groups in Russia has shrunk a lot. When I was a little kid, I didn't have to worry about skinheads because I was a white Slavic child, right? But I did hear about him, and I do know people, I've talked to people in real life who've had experiences with skinheads who were like chased, literally even as teenagers, as little children, just because they happen to be of like, you know, Turkic descent, for example. Which, funnily enough, those are like the native people of my region of Russia, right? Like Tatars and Bashkirs and so on. So yeah, it was pretty bad, and Vladimir Putin and his government throughout the years actually has put a lot of these movements to an end, basically. They jailed the biggest, you know, personalities of the Nazi far-right movements in Russia. They pretty much outlawed the right for them to gather and kind of destroyed them. But also, what happened in Russia apart from that is that not only have the Nazi groups and the far-right groups been destroyed with their, you know, freedom of speech and so on. No, everybody. That happened to literally everybody. Because not only did the Nazis lose their right to gather in public places, but also did everybody else. Protests are pretty much not allowed right now in Russia if you want to actually protest against the government. You know, you've seen those videos of people getting arrested for holding like a blank piece of paper in the street. So yes, Vladimir Putin did address the far-right issue, but he also destroyed freedom of speech, basically. And also, right now in Russia, there's like some new far-right militias forming like the so-called Russian commune that is like going on raids and harassing and, you know, sometimes attacking like migrants in Russia and, you know, not even migrants, people from like the Caucasian republics they have a particular problem with. So I don't think it's exactly fair to say that Russia is free from Nazis because of Putin and that there's no chance Russia will have Nazis in the future. But yes, I do understand where he's coming from, and as a black man, that is what concerns him the most, so I get that point of thinking. But once again, like, kinda because all those Nazis went to prison, nobody in Russia right now, not even left-wing people, nobody has the right to like protest and gather and actually voice anything against the government.
You think people would like react differently if you
Actually, yes, I think yes, but I don't give a f. It's my position, and I'm like, I'm peaceful enough to don't give a f about it.
Right. Would you ever want to travel to the USA?
Yes, of course, because I was raised on rap culture.
We can tell, buddy. We can tell. But the way you look, we can tell. Yes, that's what I was talking about. You rip off your entire swag from Western, like, American rappers. I'll have a point coming, okay?
Hip-hop culture, I want to check it out from my own eyes, you know?
Let me ask too, because you got a face tattoo.
Yeah.
What was the decision to do that? Like, how old were you when you got your face tattoo?
23.
Were you ever worried, like, damn, I can't get a job?
I wanted to block a way for me to get a simple, just a normal job.
The person
Of course, but I mean, that's not even that crazy. Like, there's like white people in Chelyabinsk with face tattoos. So like, it's not something that only like black Russians do, and it's not like, it's not that crazy actually. I mean, you guys remember Face, the Russian rapper, or Morgenstern, for example, with their face tattoos? Classic.
One of my biggest like concerns was coming here was about how strict like cops and stuff are. You being black, you having all these tattoos. Strict when it comes to like locals.
Он спрашивает, типа, как ты думаешь, копы в России менее агрессивны, чем американские копы?
They're not aggressive at all. Да нет, нихуя. Там они сразу убивают, братан. I was famous already.
He said they kill you right away there in America, right?
I was just walking through the street smoking. and 2 cops come over me and they just rapped my song and they did nothing to me.
Oh, so
That's just being a rich celebrity and having like, that's not about Russian cops being nice to black people, okay?
cops here fuck with you.
Yeah, sometimes they come like that and they take a photo.
In the USA, most rappers hate the cops. How about out here? Do like people like the cops?
I'm just
here?
laughing on them. I'm just laughing on them, but I don't hate them.
Do you feel like
I'll take, cause like, dude, every Russian knows this. Like, how can you be a gangster rapper, okay, dressed like that, and then claim that you don't mind the cops in Russia? Every real Russian from the hood, like myself, for example, okay, from the hoods of Chelyabinsk, you guys. That's like Chirac, basically. We all know the classic saying, Musara позор России, okay? And I live by that saying, and I will continue living by that saying. And I've never went to the police in Russia even once in my entire life, and I will continue avoiding police in pretty much most countries, honestly. I just don't like police in general, right? But basically, you guys get the point that was being made here. They're saying that the police in Russia is more chill than the police in the West because, you know, in America, of course, we all know that cops treat black people terribly. You know, we all know the story of George Floyd. There's countless stories that are like that as well. If you're a black person in America, dealing with the police is a big, like, problem. And it is very stressful. And the police does treat you differently, from what I understand. And the point they're making is that in Russia, the police don't care about the fact that we're black. They wouldn't shoot us for being black. So basically, the moral of the story is that, you know, Russia is like a more free country to live in, which is like, no, that is not the case. And Russian police, in a lot of ways, I think are worse than American cops. Yes, America is just a ridiculous country to begin with, right? And I don't think we should compare ourselves to America because that is like, the whole country is a circus, okay? Let's not compare ourselves to clown acts and try to be like normal civilized Europeans that we can be as Russians, right? And pretty much the point being made is that being black in Russia is actually less stressful than being black in America. And since a lot of these guys, you know, once again, they LARP as black Americans, they identify themselves with that experience of African Americans, they probably have a take of, you know, why do I care if some white people are getting jailed? The point is that it's actually great to be a black man in Russia, it's safe, the police is not gonna do anything to you as long as you kind of shut your mouth, as long as you don't mention, you know, pressing issues, and as long as you don't talk about the government. And of course, being Russian means to support Vladimir Putin and to get tattoos on your body with his face. But again, like, Russia does not care if you're black or white, they're still gonna put you to prison for posts on social media. Like, here's, for example, a story of Salim Kamina, a black Russian who has ancestry from Togo. He got sentenced to 8 years in prison, essentially supporting Ukraine and speaking out against the war. Russia doesn't care. And yes, the police treats you very nice if you're a famous rapper who has a Putin tattoo and doesn't talk about politics, but once again, that is not the experience of all of your black brothers. Because some of them are getting jailed and getting put in prison for a comment on the internet. So, is Russia really such a safe haven for black people? I don't know, guys, I don't know. I don't think it's a safe haven for any people, quite honestly.
All white people, like, they are not hating black people, but they don't understand us. And for them, it's difficult to get your culture, it's difficult to... Because in USA, everyone knows what is it, black culture.
Right.
And
they're not
in Russia, it's just in the beginning, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, I was the first who gave them, like, a chance to understand what is it, even.
Yeah.
What, but that's the thing, though. For you, black culture is only black African-American culture. Like, these guys are not really repping their countries that they came from, necessarily. Maybe Sam is for Nigeria, he talks about it quite a lot, but these guys, they're just dressed as American rappers, once again. And they're cosplaying a vision of what they imagine it's like to be a black American. Like, you're not really authentic in any way, is what I'm saying.
When you're black, it's not as easy.
Do they consider you Russian the same way you consider yourself Russian? Not even consider, the same way you are. Do they accept you?
Yes, after I passed the Russian army, after I do
They're like,
some
okay,
Russian
he did
stuff,
everything.
After I get the Putin tattoo, yes, then they accept me as one of the good ones, yes. Bruh. And here's some final thoughts on politics in this video.
So, you know, actually living in Russia, it's not like all the time we don't think about politics, we don't give a fuck about all this conflict and something like that, you know, because we know that politics is politics and war is war, some bullshit, like, it's not concerning to us. When you see some people who really thinks about that, it's just because maybe they are nothing to think about. Yeah, because...
Иди нахуй, блядь. Like, I'm not hearing this shit from some Muscovite, okay, living in Moscow, living his lavish fucking life as a privileged celebrity, talking about, oh, if you care about politics, you're like a loser, bro. No, dude, the politics are the reason why people are fucking like poor as shit in our country, don't have any fucking opportunities. People are going to die for money in a war right now, dude. Do you realize that? People are getting jailed for posting shit on social media for 8 years, dude. But of course, if you care about that, you're just a loser, bro. Find a hobby. Classic Russian Z code. You are definitely a Russian man, my guy. I swear to God. You've learned the classic copium of we cannot do anything, so it's dumb to actually care. Congratulations, you are Russian 100%.
Because normally we're just chilling about all of this shit. If you will just get out and scream that Russia is bullshit, Russia, of course they will act like aggressive, onto the side, but normally they don't give a fuck.
They're happy people, just chilling, just vibing, go to the restaurants, go to the clubs.
I have a lot of Ukrainian fans, and after this shit, less.
Base, once again, like, I wouldn't get that either, but
I arrived to Russia 2012. I'm a 32 years Sudanese who lived his first 10 years in Sudan, the second 10 years in Saudi Arabia, then the third 10 years here in Russia.
Oh, I'm gonna try on that.
Yeah, you have to.
How much? You know what? I'm finna shoot this shit up.
Let's go, let's go. Let's take a picture. Yeah, where?
Me too. Ask him why did he want a photo.
Почему ты подошел, попросил фоткать? So you see this reaction? This is basically the reaction when every time Russian people come to you and you start speaking in Russian.
exactly, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier, about how a ton of Russian people, especially if they live in like a small town, if they don't live in like a huge international city, or just any big city with like a big university, because in my hometown, Chelyabinsk, you have like universities with exchange students from Africa, so people are more used to seeing black people, but still, they just think that it's like a student, immigrant, somebody from another country, so nobody expects this.
I forgot I had this on my head, bro. Bigger size? Biggest size, like.
Просто фоткаться, то не надо. Если вы будете покупать, то тогда мы дадим. Если просто фоткаться, то нет.
Yup. Because of the yup. The biggest.
The woman is not vibing with the shit, but yeah.
Like Moscow wasn't even in my list of top 10 options. My uncle, he came to Moscow at 1992. He's my father's favorite brother. He was like, yo, make Mohammed come here to study in
Why?
Moscow.
But why did they choose Moscow?
For my father, it was like one of the best options. For a lot of Africans, they see Russia as the friend.
The white
Yeah,
friend.
the white friend. For Sudan, Russia is much better than, let's say, USA, United Kingdom.
Really?
Yep.
Hey! Wait, but why?
There is
'Cause
a
it's
lot
so-
of countries on that side of the world which see America as the #1 enemy.
Really?
Done.
So like,
Why are you so
okay,
surprised?
okay,
Yeah.
ready? So to us in the States, this is the ultimate do not go place. This is like a level 4 or 5 do not travel.
To Russia.
Bro, on the website it literally said we can't
Yep.
help you if anything goes wrong.
What?
Yes.
So it's the exact same for like the other way too. I made a video about this as well. Russia has like a travel advice thing, and they also do not recommend to travel to Europe, America, all of the unfriendly countries. That's an actual list in Russia as well. So the bullshit is reciprocated.
But
Like,
that's
it's-
because of the bad connection between.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To places like Mexico, Central America, coming to the U.S., chasing that American dream. For other countries there, it's like this is chasing that Russian dream.
It's not the
It's not
Russian
even
dream.
Russian dream.
Russia is the ally against the colonial powers of Britain,
America,
France,
Europe.
Belgium,
Right.
Germany.
Yes, sir.
It's the good white friend.
For a lot of
Right.
Africa. And I don't know why he said so,
No,
but
it's
I
an
think
It's just because, yeah, I mean, the point that is being made here is once again, this is something that Russians like. I mean, once again, these guys are Russian, so they've got to make apologies for their country, right? But I'm not that kind of Russian. I don't like to make apologies. I like to look at things as they are. And like, if we look at things as they are, yes, absolutely, I agree. America, countries of Europe, the colonialism, everything was absolutely terrible. That is the reason why I personally find it funny when Europeans cry about like massive immigration in their countries. Like, bro, you've done that to other people previously, so it's swinging back, that's how it works, that's how mafia works. But usually a lot of Russians like to say that Russia, unlike these Western powers, never did anything bad, never had any colonialism, never genocided anyone, and that is like just a fucking joke. But I get it, people want to make excuses for the place where they're from, and they think that, their country has always been in the right. People do this all the time. But I've seen comments online from Russians genuinely for ages now saying that America is such a terrible country, that, the country was built on the blood of the natives that were genocided, which is true, right? But what do you think about Russia, dude? How the fuck do you think Russia got so big? How do you think they got so many different nationalities that are under Russia's belt? They colonized them, right? And there have also been insane genocides perpetrated by the Russian Empire during the times of this, colonialism and taking over land. Like the Circassian genocide, for example, right? That was insane. So yeah, the only reason I feel like why Russia has not exploited Africa as much as some Western countries is because Russia simply just did not manage to get there early enough. And also, as of right now, Russia is doing like shady shit in Africa, you know, taking part in regime changes. PMC Wagner is like involved in Africa and so on. You know what I'm saying? Like, to say that Russia is a perfect friend to Africa and has never done anything bad to Africa, I think is just like, is just cope in my opinion, because Russia is just as reprehensible as any other colonial power in my opinion. All of these countries, man, they're all built on blood and bones and slaves and shit. Once again, you do not become the Russian Empire by being friendly and offering people like sweets or something, you know? No, that's not how this works. But for these guys, I get it. You know, their countries were not colonized by Russia, so they're more inclined to hate the Western colonialism. But two things can be true at the same time, I think.
Africa, Central Africa, and East
like,
Africa. In Nigeria as well, they don't really give a fuck about Russia.
And sometimes
Until
I think
Putin.
that reaction of you seeing the name.
I got a 20-word list I can't say.
It's a fact.
Top word on that
that's
list
a good
begins
name.
with a P.
No, but you know why Nigerians love Putin? Because the Brits left Nigeria in shambles. And now you have one guy resisting NATO, the EU, Putin alone resisting the white
Resistant and shit in his pants, yes.
colonial powers.
Stop shouting.
What is Russia if not a white colonial power, bruh? Like, come on. I get it, dude. I'm also pretty pissed at America and the West, you know, at the hegemony they have and so on. I get it, right? But that doesn't mean that we have to excuse everything that Russia has ever done now just because they happen to say that they're against NATO and the West and so on. Because once again, they're making the lives of their own citizens shittier. And that is what I care about.
No, we just don't have to shout.
I like this guy, bro. I like this guy. We do not have to shout that, bro.
Content over everything.
Bro,
Content over freedom, bro.
Anyway, what?
That's my motto. That's my motto of my channel. But look, all I'm saying is if you have to lower your voice when you talk about politics in public, that's probably a sign that your country is not super free. You know what I'm saying?
Just as in the US, you have the Senate and you have the House of Representatives. This is the House of Representatives. Государственная Дума.
All the decisions.
House of dumb fucks, but yeah.
From this building, yeah. This is where.
Everything.
Bro, what is that building?
This is the
KGB.
FBI headquarters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
FSB.
Yeah. Look at it.
All the buildings in Moscow are just so evil, okay? This is why I don't like Moscow. It's just an evil city. I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. I mean, it has its good spots, but it's just an evil city. Like, I have no other way to put it.
KGB, Russian FBI control the country. Hello, this Putin brother? Do you like Putin's leg? Send $10,000. You could be rich as fuck, but if a KGB captain doesn't like you, bro,
He wanted to go out, right?
you are done.
What is the
I just
KGB?
said it. It's the Russian FBI.
I feel uncomfortable already just watching this video. Like, I feel like I'm in that car, and because there's a Russian police car in the back, I feel uncomfortable. Because Russian police means no good news, you know?
Do you know what's conventionally black?
What?
We as black people, wherever we're from, we are loud. Pay attention to how quiet this bus is.
Until we
The
get
whole bus is staring at us. We've had a ton of situations of people coming to us like, yo, why you shouting? And we're just like, yo, Mohammed, da, 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 da.
like this.
That's universally black.
You think so?
Like Africans from any country, they're lively.
The emotion.
It's not being loud.
Nigerians speak very loud
Bro,
too. Yeah,
if I start speaking like a Nigerian now,
very.
if I start speaking, like
That's
I'm
already
using my
going.
whole body to
Yeah,
communicate.
yeah,
Because I cannot just be standing there like, yo,
Yeah.
Pudi, this is the Moscow. No, I have to like, yo, Pudi, this is the Moscow.
Are most people here quiet?
99%, bro.
Yeah, this is a seat actually here that I've seen a bunch of comments on the video, so there's some Russians that were saying that is disrespectful what they did in the bus here, how they turned it into like a podcasting room and they started talking loud and shit. Okay, bro.
If we match
I just like to look at the guy in the back, the bald one, like
high school graduate.
whatever, it's irrelevant what they're talking about, just the guy in the back like staring at them. That's fucking hilarious, dude. Just the most Russian man physically possible. They found one to sit in this seat and look at them in that way. It's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what they do in this video. Then they go to like just on the street, they hang out, they talk a little bit. Then they meet like a black stand-up comedian who's also black Russian. And they have like a little round table where actually they did like a podcast after this as well on the Russian channel talking to Putin. So pretty cool video. Like, once again, again, don't get me wrong, like, I know it seems like I'm a hater, like, I was kind of a hater in this video, yes, low-key, I get it, but look, I'm not setting out to hate these people, like, once again, first of all, I think the video is really cool, the fact that he went to Russia and, like, talked to the black community there, and the fact that he's a black American himself doing this as well kind of gives it, you know, it would be way cornier if it was just, like, a white American doing it, I think, but, there's a bit more of a connection there, I guess, but it's more so that I'm just pissed about the fact that, you know, they don't actually talk about anything important, they don't bring up the real issues of Russia that, like, affect people, that affect them as well, right? Like the censorship, the freedom of speech, whatever, the war going on, right? Like, their take is just the take of the typical apolitical Russian of, if you don't talk about politics, if you don't touch politics, politics are not gonna touch you, right? No, unfortunately in Russia, politics do touch you. And once again, I have no ill will against the people that are in this video. I don't think there's anything wrong with living in Russia if you're from Russia, right? But once again, the fact that you're making an interview out there to the West and your whole message is, actually everything is a-okay and the police here is better than the police in the West, and there's no issues, you guys. I don't know. I don't think you're like portraying a real picture of what is going on. And I get that these people, you know, they obviously don't want to say shit in this video that is gonna get them in trouble in Russia, because once again, Russia, there's a reason why people are scared to speak out and say their opinion. But what can I say, guys? Maybe I am a little biased. I just like to have free speech in my country, you know. I wouldn't like to have a country in which the cult of personality is so ridiculous that a black man has to get a Putin tattoo on his hand to show that he's like, that he's Russian enough or something. That's something that I do not want in my country. And also, I do not want people making excuses for dictatorship and authoritarianism. That's something I also do not want in my country. So the point is that we have a lot of work to do. Which I'm not doing because I left Russia, but you know, it is what it is. Anyways, guys, I guess that is gonna be pretty much it for today's video though. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this little reaction of a white Russian to what it's like to be black in Russia. And yeah, let me know what you guys thought of it down in the comments, and smash the like if you enjoyed this video, and if you guys would like to support me additionally, and that is financially, then go over to the link down in the description and become a YouTube member or buy me a coffee. It helps me out quite a lot. And yeah, people, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.